Welcome back to the first episode of our Beyond the Scoreboard podcast. I'm Corlia,
And I'm Amaya.
and we're here with Coach Boone and Coach Lott.
Yep. Glad to be here.
What has it been like, developing the players for this new season?
It's been a lot of fun. Our kids are working very hard. The players they're bought into what we do, and I think that if we play with great attitude, great energy and effort, I think we're gonna have a very good year.
Yeah, just to, kind of piggyback on what he said, I think our guys have worked extremely hard from, the end of May till now to get to the season, and, they bought into what we're trying to do, especially in the weight room. So I think we're looking to have a good year.
And how did you get into football, like into coaching, but like the sport as a whole?
Well, started way back when I was in fourth grade. I started playing as a child. That's what, kids, boys used to do whenever they first got into Pee Wee. But at small schools, here, I don't know if they play in fourth grade, but for the school I went to, we started playing in fourth grade and just fell in love with it ever since, and it's been a part of my life for as long as I can remember.
That's really nice to hear. In other news, how would you describe, your relationship to football and like how it's helped you grow throughout the years?
To me, I mean, it helps build discipline and structure, and setting your mind to a goal and trying to achieve it. And that goes along with anything that I've done in my adult life. There's something that needs to be done, and football really taught me how to stick to the course even when times were tough, and finish the job. So football was it taught me a lot of life lessons.
When did y'all know y'all wanted to get into coaching?
Well, I think I knew kind of early on. I always had a love for the game and a love for helping people be the best that they could be. I knew that one of my heroes is my father, and he coached me all through Pee Wee and Little League baseball, and sometimes he was kind of hard to be around as a dad and a coach, because the other kids would get the nice version of him, and then he kind of got on me harder, which was fine. But I just knew very, very early on that I love sports. My mom's a teacher, and with her teaching all through her career, I knew that I liked being around young people. And when you have the love for the game, you try to help and serve other people. That's what kind of embodies what a coach is. It's not necessarily to call the greatest plays in the world. We want to do that, but we want to take somebody from where they are to where they could be.
Yeah, for me, it was a much different path to my coaching career, coaching start. Just a fun fact, I started my actual full-time coaching under Coach Boone when he was at Kirk Academy. So for me, I always had the love of the game, and that was something that I always really wanted to do. However, life took a different turn. I went into law enforcement for a few years, but I never lost the love. I stayed coaching paraprofessionally, and the Lord made things work, and ended up getting back into coaching in 2023. So.
And with this upcoming season, what are y'all most looking forward to?
I think what we're most looking forward to is our team goals. We want to see us achieve our team goals each day. And, obviously you want to win every single game, but our goals each day and every game would be, number one, be the most excited team to play, and then number two, be a team. If we can do those two things, then anything's on the table.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I think that one of my goals as a coach is they need to see that I'm excited about being there for them. We're there to serve them, and I think if the coaches are laying the two things that we want them to accomplish each day, and that's to be the most excited team to play, and I think if we're doing that, they'll I guess they will repeat that. And it's supposed to be fun, and I want to see them develop, but I also want to see them enjoy this game, because you can't play it forever. So, that's kind of my goal, is to help them get better and to really enjoy the high school experience of playing football at Hernando.
And Coach Lott, how do you feel about going into this season with this new team?
Yeah, being new, and especially new to this league, there's a lot of good football in this league, and we feel like, with our guys, we can compete. We really feel that way, and so just being around a new team, I just feel like it's like it's football. You know, it's a different level. It's a much, you know, more competitive level than I've ever coached. However, you know, competitors compete, and I think we got a good group, and I like the team we got.
How do you think the seniors are looking forward to this, being their last year and all?
Well, this senior class, they've played a lot of football. So when they were sophomores, they kind of took their lumps. They were, they had a smaller senior class ahead of them, and so there's a big, you know, senior class this year that were sophomores then. So there's a lot of them, and they've played a lot of football. They've seen the ups, they've seen the downs, and so I think with them is that they can take on the next role of being leaders, and to not whenever they came in as young guys, you know, the team was kind of down a little bit, you know, and that they got to kind of raise the bar. They kind of took that step last year with last year's team, but then now this year, I think that if they can elevate it to another level, perhaps, then I think that would be a really big goal of theirs.
And so I know that both of you, like, this is y'all's first year, well, taking on new roles and stepping up. How have y'all prepared for that experience?
Yeah, you know, for me, football wise, it's not really a hard transition for me because where I was coaching last in football, I was an assistant defensive backs and wide receivers coach. So, you know, it is a much smaller school. So this year, you know, I was having to coach receivers and DBs last year, where this year, you know, I can really focus on, you know, basically one position group and really put all my chips into that and really just focus more on what I need to accomplish for those guys. Now, do I want to help and do my part as an assistant wherever Coach Boone and the guys above me ask me to do? Yeah, I want to be able to do it. But for me, it's just transitioning into like, hey, you have a specific group of kids that you work with each day, so there's no excuse for them not to improve each day. So that's kind of my goal, is like take care of these guys, you know, and really focus on that.
Yeah, for me, the role may change, but the goal is still the goal. We have a great group of coaches that we're around that really pour into our players, and we have a great school and administration. And at the end of the day, you know, the position may change, but the goal is still the same. It's to serve people and to bring them, making them better, whether that's on the field or off the field, and that's our goal.
Okay, this is like kind of like a stupid question. If y'all didn't coach football, what would you think you would coach and why?
Well, since I do coach another sport, I'm not going to say the one that I coach because that would just be too easy. If I had another coach, if I had another sport to coach, it would probably be basketball, because I do know, even though I'm not tall in stature and I'm not good anymore, I did love playing basketball and I knew a little bit about it. So I think that would probably be the easiest sport that I don't already coach to pick up.
Yeah, I'd like to say baseball. That's what I was probably better at than football when it comes to playing the game. But honestly, like, I'm jealous of Coach Bentley. Like, he's always on the golf course. So I think something of that magnitude would probably interest me.
And I know your job as coaches is to, you know, help aid in the growth of like the players. But how do you think coaching has like aided in your growth and like your development?
Yeah, I think it just helps with like the responsibility factor of, you know, because we're in charge and we're accountable for the kids that we have each day. You know, their parents trust us enough to for them to be around us as much as they are. So for me, you know, I take that pretty seriously, of just kind of, you know, that taking on the responsibility of you know, stuff that may not actually be physically mine. You know, so to me, you know, it's responsibility, it's accountability, that sort of thing.
I think that's a great question. I know this, when I started off coaching and teaching, that, you know, it was all about trying to be better for, you know, the people that you're entrusted with. But I know my views on coaching has changed over the last going on 3 years now. Whenever my son was born, everything kind of changed, because all the time my decisions were always, hey, what's best for me? What's best for me? And you know, whenever you get married and whenever you have a child, then all that stuff kind of goes out the window. And I think that whenever, you know, when my son was born, it kind of opened my eyes to another light. It was, you know, how would I want my son to be coached? You know, do I want the guy challenges him? Yes. Do I want the guy that screams and goes crazy? Well, maybe only when it's necessary. And so I think that whenever when he was born, that changed my life with so much good because I'm not the same person. And I think that as growth, that, all of us have got to grow every day, whether that's just being a little bit better than you were the day before. And then ultimately, over the course of your life, you're going to look up and go, wow, I grew a lot from the time I was 16 years old to the time I was 65.
How have these past practices, like the past couple weeks leading up to the season starting, how have those been?
Well, it's been a challenge, and we all know it's been extremely hot the last couple of weeks, and there's no end in sight in that. So adjusting when we practice and being able to get out of it everything that we need to accomplish, because the clock's ticking. We play Friday, so we have a lot to cover, and on top of that, we're having to adjust things. So it's been, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. It's been difficult. The practices and the effort has been fine for the most part. However, having to get them up here at different times and adjusting, our family lives and whenever we're home and when we're not, that's sort of been difficult. But as far as the team goes, I feel like we're in a decent spot, got a lot to get better at. However, we're making the best of what we got.
Yeah, Coach Lott just hit it out of the park. But, I think that our players have done an excellent job of being able to take the circumstance that's there, whether that be the heat or whatever the event is, and our response has been really well. They said yes sir. They come when they need to come, whether that's 5 a.m. in the morning or 5 p.m. in the afternoon. They've done a great job of answering the call because it does help you, because in life things ain't gonna go on schedule all the time. Now we're creatures of habit. We love routine. We do this at this time and this time, but sometimes the game of life don't work that way, and game of football don't work that way. Sometimes you got to pivot and adjust, and I think our kids and our coaches have done a great job.
And to end on a lighter note, what do you have to say to those coming out to support y'all on Friday?
You go first, and I go first.
You go first.
Okay. I would expect that you're going to see a ball club that's extremely excited to play the game. I hope and I believe you'll see a very disciplined team, a very structured team that is, it may not always be the skill that we need to match up, but our effort and attitude will always match up. And that's one thing that we try to strive on. So, if you show up Friday, you're going to see a team that's highly motivated and ready to play some football.
Yeah, ultimately, I think that be excited, be on time, be a Tiger.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much.
Thank y'all.